this is your first or second time here, hope you enjoyed the video. If this is your third time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on when I post. Figured I'd try something new today. Tossed all this right here together within the last couple of days. But I'm going to talk about some weapons from Fallout. Some of the weirder ones, some of the things we just kind of accept or just gloss over. So today's is going to be the first one in this. And it's going to be a weapon I used just recently in a run. The Displacer Glove. Now, not all pre-war weapons were designed to kill. Some were just meant to control. And were simply adapted to be the weapons we know them as today. Now, the Displacer Glove, we find it in a few places throughout the game. Most notably, the one that uses it the most, and the individual most every character will come in contact with, is Caesar, the leader of the Legion. Some people find it strange that he's using an energy-based weapon, whilst others, if you really understand the Legion, you understand that it's just fine for them to use energy weapons. If they could mass-produce them, more soldiers would have them, but as it stands right now, Caesar, as a former follower of the Apocalypse, understands how to maintain his weapon. Now, originally, the Displacer Glove was conceived of as a riot control augmentation for soldiers, military police, you name it. Anyone that would need to have a hand-mounted loudspeaker array to speak to large crowds. And even in some cases, play loud, directed sound toward people to make them disperse. We actually have certain devices like this in this day and age. Directed sound and sonic arrays that we actually use for this exact purpose, actually. But people quickly realized that the emitter array could be retuned to emit displaced bursts of concussive air, allowing operators to push or incapacitate targets, usually without lethal force, unless over-tuned. While not intended for military or combat use, pre-war modifications allowed soldiers to weaponize the sonic driver in the device, converting this megaphone glove into a short-ranged concussive weapon. In practice, the glove emits a directed, displaced pressure wave of air capable of striking opponents with equivalent force of a low-caliber weapon or minor explosive damage, depending on what you're wearing. Now, recovered notes from pre-war manufacturers suggest that the Displacer Glove was originally marketed to riot police and peacekeeping forces as a voice amplification and command reinforcement system, effectively a portable loudspeaker for crowd control and dispersal. After testing, researchers discovered the sonic pulse could shatter lightweight materials and stagger human targets, leading to a restricted distribution of the devices. But when the bombs fell, military personnel adapted the design, its civilian limiters were removed, and the non-lethal voice amplifier became a handheld shockwave emitter. By the by, that's it for this video. Gonna keep this one nice, tight, and short. Under 5 minutes, hopefully. Under around that anyway. Without my rambling here at the end. This is just something new. I was mostly testing out the backgrounds and all that happy good stuff there. That way I can make a template, right? I try to go through and streamline everything I do when it comes to this so I can keep it as quick and easy to make as possible, because like I said before, until I figured out that, Audacity has that truncate feature, it was taking me like 3 or 4 hours to make these types of videos. Now that I have more free time with it, instead of just using B-roll in the background for everything for them, I figure, this new setup would be pretty interesting. Along with that, I'd like to thank Eric Hewitt and Big O for sticking around, guys. It means a lot. If you'd like to become a member too, links down in the description. $2 a month gets you membership videos and whatnot, which there will be some coming out later on this month, mostly because we're done with the Courier 6 run for the members stuff there. Anyway, I'm going to call this one good. Let me know how it went for a good proof of concept here. I'm really liking the background and stuff here. Found it floating around on the internet. I guess it could also be used as like a stream overlay or something. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I could probably modify it here and there if I want to. But yeah, just working on making it nice and a nice easy workflow to make these videos quickly and easily. That way I can keep making them week to week, because I want to keep up this 2 videos a week thing. Been doing it for like, I don't know, over a year at this point. I think April was a year that I had been making Fallout videos, and I was only late on 1 video in that time, which is pretty cool. Along with that, I've started streaming and stuff too every once in a while. Anyway, I'm rambling. I will let you guys go. Hope you have a good rest of your day. I'm going to head on out. If this is your first or second time here, hope you enjoyed the video. If this is your third time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated on when I post. Today's weapon is a fairly strange and oftentimes forgotten weapon from old world blues. It was originally supposed to be in the main game. It was technically a bit of cut content that was brought in later. I'm talking about the LEAR, which stands for the Laser Assisted Electrical Rifle. A hybrid of science and desperation born from the twilight years of the old world and rediscovered amid the ruins of the Big Empty. Now, at first glance, the LEAR looks like a prototype rifle that was never meant to leave the lab. The frame is a parts bin collection of random scraps from other weapons, random odds and ends from laser rifles and other energy-based weaponry, and the glass glow of vacuum tubes clinging to the spine of this gun. But don't let the cobbled design fool you. This rifle was far from primitive. It was an experimental energy weapon platform built around a simple yet terrifying idea. Channel electricity through a coherent beam and let that beam find its target. In the field, the LEAR delivers roughly 65 points of raw damage, dependent, per shot, matching the power of a plasma rifle sometimes, but surpassing the output of a laser rifle. Fires a rapid 2.5 seconds per shot, consuming microfusion cells as ammunition, and converting the stored energy therein into searing arcs of blue-white currents of electricity. It's a fairly light weapon, which adds to the delicate nature of it. At just 4 pounds, or units of weight in-game, and requires only moderate strength to heft and use. But it is a delicate piece of prototype equipment. Adding to the prototype nature of this weapon, it's only found, really, in about 7 places in the Big Empty. It goes to show that it was never put into full production. Now, no weapon is perfect, and the LEAR's flaws are as striking as the brilliance of this weapon. Its critical damage output is unusually low for an energy weapon. Each hit carries a multiplier of 1.5 times, delivering around 15 points of critical damage on impact, far less than that of a tri-beam laser rifle or a plasma caster, and its beam spread of 0.08 is wide enough to limit the usage range of the weapon. In essence, the LEAR was built for short, intense bursts of firepower rather than precise engagements. Its true power is unleashed in close quarters combat, where all 3 of its split beams can converge and overload a single target. Yes, it can be outfitted with a beam splitter, much like a laser rifle. But, by the by, durability is the Achilles heel of this weapon. The LEAR is extremely fragile, especially the vacuum tubes and power regulators in the weapon. They deteriorate with what seems like every shot. By the by, its lifespan barely stretches past 370 shots before it's completely broken and needs repair. It also shows that the weapon was never really meant to see widespread usage. What exactly is the LEAR, and where did it come from? The name alone, Laser Assisted Electrical Rifle, reveals its purpose. Not purely a laser weapon, not purely an electrical device, but something in between. The prevailing theory is the Lear represents a transitional stage in energy weapon development, a missing link, so to speak, between early laser-based weaponries of the pre-war United States and the later plasma-based weaponries that came to dominate the war. Laser weapons use a coherent beam to burn through targets. Plasma weapons use superheated ionized gases, essentially contained lightning, to burn holes and gooify their enemies. The Lear seems to bridge those two by creating an electrical discharge guided by a laser channel. In simple terms, the laser component creates a conductive path through the air, then the rifle discharges an electrical arc along that path. The result is the weapon fires bolts of electricity at the speed of light, making it effectively instantaneous at short and medium ranges. The vacuum tubes visible along the body suggest a reliance on pre-microprocessor technology, where later energy weapons integrated complex circuit boards and solid-state regulators into their chassis and frames. The Lear remained built on analog control systems, massive, inefficient, but stable and easy to produce in their own ways. And this may place its design earlier than most pre-war analysis believes. While laser rifles were perfected for military use, the Lear might have been a civilian or prototype adaptation, a way to experiment with directed electrical discharge without requiring sensitive materials or processors that only the military could get their hands on. And if that is the case, then the Lear wasn't intended to be a battlefield rifle at all. It was an experiment in non-lethal weaponization, a ranged taser designed to subdue without killing. But somewhere between design and development, that purpose changed. The power output was increased, the containment field failed to stabilize at lower voltages. What was once meant to shock someone into submission became a weapon capable of burning straight through flesh, armor, and even metal plating. In the Big Mountain facility, known for its reckless experimentation, that transformation would have been considered progress. The Lear's rediscovery in the Big Empty tells us much about its fate. Every known instance of this weapon has been found within the borders of Big Mountain. In labs and tunnels and test fields, war research dorms, you name it, you can find this weapon there. The most common variant is just the standard Lear. It can be found in X8, X42, Robco, Warfare Facility, and even on the remains of a giant Robo-Scorpion later on in the DLC. These are not random placements. They tell us the story of just how widespread testing had become for this weapon in the Big Empty before the end. The most powerful form of this weapon, though, is Elijah's Advanced Lear, made by Father Elijah, formerly of the Brotherhood of Steel. He adapted this weapon for his own use. He recognized what the think tank once did, that this was not a finished weapon at all, but a foundation to build off of. His version of this rifle, when fully modified, could deliver 230 damage per second, nearly matching a plasma caster, and weighing half as much. Now, its scarcity was no accident. The think tank never moved the Lear into mass production, whether due to cost, safety, or simple obsolescence at this point. It was shelved, filed away in the archives of the Big Empty, until you come along, in-game. The Lear's combination of electrical power and analog design and modular construction also support another theory. that it was an attempt to retrofit civilian production lines to create energy-based weapons using available components of the time, especially when microprocessors and precision optics were scarce in the world of Fallout, while vacuum tubes were being made for all electronics of the time. The Lear could have been the old world's answer to wartime shortages, a design philosophy that said, if we can't make it with the new, then the old things will do. And the final theory about the Lear is fairly simple, that the Lear is the missing link between laser and plasma-based weaponry, made using older technologies that they had on hand to try to prove a point. The Lear was the beginning point of containing plasma. Shooting electricity is shooting pure plasma. Figuring out the containment fields for it, how to make sure that containment field stays in place until it hits its mark. The Lear was the starting point of all of that. A precursor plasma weapon that was aided by the advancement of laser weaponry. Once they took the Lear project as far as they could, they started developing the actual plasma rifles we see in-game. To hold a Lear is to hold the physical embodiment of the old world's obsession with progress. An obsession so deep that even the end of civilization couldn't erase its fingerprints. Look closer at its design, and you'll see the story written in metal. The crude wiring that connects the emitter systems and coils. The faint blue glow of the tubes pulsing like a heartbeat. The heavy stock that feels like an afterthought. As if someone remembered, too late, that a weapon needs to be held and not just mounted. The Lear isn't elegant, it's desperate. It's the sound of an engineer saying, "We can make it work. One more time before the bombs fell." Its existence also challenges the neat timeline of energy weapon development that we often take for granted. We assume lasers came first, plasma came second, recharger technology was a civilian version of lasers, but the Lear, sitting awkwardly between them, suggests a more chaotic progression, a time when scientists were throwing everything at the wall to see what might stick. And in the chaos of all of this, they may have stumbled upon something profound. The Lear fires controlled electrical plasma along a coherent path. That, by definition, is a directed energy plasma system. In other words, like I said before, it's a plasma rifle, just wearing the wrong nameplate. If we accept that, then the Lear becomes the prototype that made plasma weaponry possible. The proof of concept that this energy could be contained, directed, and utilized on a portable scale. It's a weapon that proved the future, even as the world ended. The Lear is more than a gun. It's a message from the old world. A whisper of the scientists who stood at the edge of an impossible discovery. A reminder that sometimes progress isn't a straight line, but a loop, repeating itself endlessly across centuries. And in the hands of the courier, the Lear becomes a relic reborn, capable of cutting down mutants, robots, and men alike. But its real power lies not in the voltage or its damage output, but it lies in the story it tells about the people who made it. People who believed that if they built just one more weapon, one more invention, one more miracle, and they could stop what was coming. But they were wrong. And that storm still echoes across the wasteland to this day. The end they couldn't stop. Next time you're out there in the wasteland, and you find an energy weapon humming with old forgotten light, remember, it may not just be a relic. It might be the last heartbeat of a world that refused to die quietly. Figured I'd try something new with this one, a fully scripted out episode. I usually just go off the cuff for these things here, but I was feeling like Since these are so quick to make nowadays, I should try branching out a little bit from what I'm used to doing. I don't really read scripts and stuff too much because I always felt it just took too long, especially with needing to go through and edit the audio to remove the pauses and stuff, and gaps in thought when I sit and think. It took quite a few takes on some of the stuff here. Feel a little stifled and whatnot, but that just comes because it's the first time I've done this. By the by, with the truncate option in Audacity and whatnot, the little extra amount of time here that I spent working on this compared to a normal one, about an extra hour, is still quicker than what I normally spend, well, what I used to spend making videos like this. So, it's still substantially quicker, even with a script and needing to do multiple takes for some of the lines and stuff here. By the by, it was fun. It was fun. I might do this again. Try to keep up this style here. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'd like to thank Eric Hewitt and Big O for sticking around. Thanks, guys. It means a lot. If you'd like to become a member like them, link is down in the description to do so. I have a couple more videos coming out this month for members only. One of them is going to be the 9mm pistol in a video setup like this one. And the challenge run for this month is going to be how fast I can beat Honest Hearts. So with all that out of the way, I'm going to let you guys get back to whatever you were doing. Have a good day, and take care. If this is your first or second time here, hope you enjoyed the video. If this is your third time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on when I post. Now, before I go getting into this, I want to know if anyone else has noticed the change to YouTube. Right, when I watch a video now, I only get like 3 recommended after, instead of like the 9 or 12 or however many used to be on the tail end of videos and whatnot. Along with that, I've noticed the entire, for lack of a better use of a word, HUD for YouTube has changed. When you're watching videos, it's not like stylized thumbs up and whatnot. It's weird. It's weird to me. We're going to continue these new style of videos with one recommended by a member of the community here. Just had to look it up there. Gatling suggested the, apt enough, grenade machine gun. A weapon that doesn't really get a lot of use or screen time outside of meeting the boomers. Now, the grenade machine gun is a heavy piece of pre-war support weaponry that was most likely developed in the mid-2060s. A single soldier with this weapon could carpet bomb an entire street with explosions. It's chambered in 25mm grenades and fed from a 30-round cased magazine. The grenade machine gun turns short-range combat into walking artillery. It's loud, heavy, and absurdly effective. And that was the point of this weapon. So here's some basic math for this weapon. Its ammo is 25mm grenades, mag size around 30. Base DPS is listed at around 150, raising significantly with mods. Mods as in modifications to the weapon, not modifications to the game. The high-speed kit alone boosts rate of fire by 50%. The reload for this weapon sits at roughly 4 seconds, give or take. 3 with rapid reload. The weight for this weapon is 15 units, whatever the weight units are in game. I never really understood that. Heavy but portable. Durability is nearly 2,000 rounds from full condition to completely broken. About 67 reloads. So it's built to run through ammo like no tomorrow. However, it's in a fairly sad, unique class of its own here where you can't use jury-rigging to fix the gun. So you gotta either find more grenade machine guns or go to Commander Knight, I think that's his name, at the outpost there by the statues, or you can do what I always do, dip in the Lonesome Road. The requisition kiosks there all have repair skills of 100 anyway. And the first one's through like 2 load screens, so you don't really need to worry too much about running too far into the DLC. A unique quirk of the grenade machine gun is the on-weapon monitor isn't just for show. When the feed jams, the display distorts, and the courier, your character, can actually unjam the weapon by just punching the monitor. It's a neat little gag that reveals the gun's precision. Timed feed, synchronized firing system. You have no idea how many takes it took me to get that one right there right for some reason. You're not just heaving explosives at an enemy, you're running a mechanically timed device with a high throughput. Now, a lot of people like to compare this to the 25mm anti-personnel weapon from the Gunrunner's arsenal. The rifle-sized, magazine-fed 25mm grenade launcher from that DLC. And while that weapon is more accurate, it only has a 6-round magazine, and it is significantly slower. So if you want high DPS, you go with the grenade machine gun. Now this weapon tells a deeper story about the world. Most pre-war gear in Fallout clings to vacuum tube tech. Right, a lot of people say that's the divergence point between our world and the Fallout world. Fallout's world continued on with vacuum tubes and focused on different styles of technology from therein, and our world went with microprocessors and smaller computers and stuff like that. There's quite a few divergence points, not going to get into that right now, but a little known fact of the Fallout world is not too long before the bombs fell, within a decade or two, they did invent the microprocessor, and they did put it to use in some of their technology. For those of you that don't know what a vacuum tube is, you can think of it kind of like a light bulb in the most rudimentary sense. It's a container of glass with the air vacuumed out of it so that the intricate systems inside can run in a vacuum, as the name would entail. And now I just had to look this up. Both based on the same principle. Vacuum tubes took it a step further because vacuum tubes were designed to control the flow of electrons to perform electronic functions like amplification or reflection. I have no idea how to pronounce some of these words. But what I'm getting at is a vacuum tube is a very delicate piece of equipment. Not something you want in a mounted weapon that's recoil alone could destroy a vacuum tube. So it's no accident that we see the monitor on the side of the grenade machine gun as a somewhat compact, for Fallout's world anyway, computer system that is durable enough for us to just hit without any issues to it. Now, it's not an accident or an oversight that this weapon has this monitor on it. It's one of the central parts of it, after all. I'd say around the same time the fusion cores were made, microprocessors were also made. Early to mid 2060s. So a decade or so, maybe decade and a half, before the bombs fell. The microprocessor systems housed in the computer feed time system for this weapon allowed it to properly work at a high rate of fire. Okay? Now just allow me to paint a picture for you. No weapon in Fallout that I have ever come across has had an underslung attachment for it. In our world, we have underslung shotguns, underslung grenade launchers, bayonets, you name it, we have it. There's even some madmen out there that have tried to fasten a chainsaw onto their rifle. People have been made fun of for thinking that was real too. But in the Fallout world, the closest thing we get is to stick a sharpened piece of metal onto a gun. And that only came in Fallout 4 and 76. So, personal, singular grenade launchers were quite popular. Now, the United States military used grenade launchers quite a bit in Vietnam. Just needed to look that up right there. During World War II, we used rifle grenades, as it is put, and bazookas for delivering explosives downrange. In the 1960s, we started using portable grenade launchers, man-sized ones, small, portable. Give a couple to a squad. They got their rifles as their primary. They got grenade launchers. There's a secondary. They can saturate an area with explosives and act as rudimentary mortar systems for short-range mortar attacks, if need be. Well, it seems like in the Fallout universe, they stuck with this style instead of adopting an underslung to their weapons. After all, they were focusing more on nuclear power and energy-style weaponry. And while sure, some of those probably didn't come around until the mid-2050s or whatnot, it still goes to show that the grenade machine gun is a deviation of a branch that our world never took. We went more portable, more easy to carry. We have grenade launching pistols nowadays. We have multi-shot ones, if that's your thing. We have underslungs that can be put on every rifle that every infantryman has. The Fallout world didn't do that. They instead saw carrying a grenade launcher as in, you are now a grenadier. That is what you're doing. That is your job now. And while that's still a thing nowadays, they went more along the lines of, okay, well, you're going to be using grenade launchers and grenades and other explosives. And by the 2050s, the Power Armor project that was started even before the power source of fusion cores, that's what they're called, was even made. Fusion cores were made, they tailored them to be used in the Power Armor system, and at that point in time, a grenade machine gun seems like a pretty good idea. After all, you already have a shoulder-mounted nuclear catapult. Why not a grenade machine gun as well? Although, these weapons make more sense if you think of it as if they were supposed to be mounted on top of vehicles, right? A nuclear catapult most likely to be used, well, to be bigger for one, and to be used at a longer range, along with a grenade machine gun to be mounted on top of an armored personnel carrier or some other type of vehicle that was to be used in a theater of combat. But now, since we have power armor, we could turn any soldier into a walking tank that can take shots while carpet bombing an entire area. Just imagine it, right? Power armor is meant to jump and drop from extreme heights. Sounds like a paratrooper to me, right? So you get a squad. Hell, you get 10 men, all in power armor. 5 of them have grenade machine guns. The other 5 have heavy, fully automatic weapons, some kind. Be it normal machine guns, miniguns, Gatling lasers, whatever. You drop them all into an enemy base. Especially before the enemy knew power armor was a thing, you could decimate everything in there within a number of minutes. Now these things, the grenade machine guns, wouldn't only be used for explosives delivery, right? It's a grenade launcher. So any other type of munitions that is used in a grenade launcher can be used. Training rounds that are chalk, bog standard. You can even buy those nowadays if you want. You can go with smoke grenades, pulse grenades, rubber ball grenades, cluster grenades, hornet nest rounds, which are, if you didn't know about this, grenade launchers in the United States aren't technically illegal. The larger diameter ones are, but smaller diameter ones aren't because you can shoot flares out of them. So you can just buy them. You can get something known as a hornet's nest, which is they're usually made of brass. They're about the size of the size of the shell needed for whatever launcher you're buying it for. It unscrews and you put 22 caliber rounds in it. Fill them up like 20 of them, screw it on there, load it in, pull the trigger, and it sets all of them off at the same fucking time. A literal hornet's nest of 22s flying downrange like a giant shotgun. Now that would be a sight to see. One of the final things that could be used in a grenade machine gun like this is, in the Fallout world, nuclear weapons are part and parcel. You can just find mini nukes laying around. There are also nuclear mines that you can make. And even some nuclear hand grenades. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to make a 25mm nuclear grenade. Imagine that. Not just the overall explosion, but then the radiation and fallout that comes after. Now imagine having 4 of these mounted on an old-style plane. I'm going to talk about the planes of Fallout one of these days as well. Mounted on the wings of a plane. The feed computer timed to set the explosives to multi-stage. As in, the round hits, impacts, blows a hole through, and then sends the actual payload through the hole. And then you just saturate an area with it. Or to be able to switch shell types on the fly. Fallout's got some strange technology out there. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to set all of their grenades to time delay. Saturate an area with them, and then they all start going off 30, 40 seconds later. Because that's the beautiful thing about the grenade machine gun. It's not just a weapon, it's a weapon platform, right? Imagine you're living in occupied Canada at this point. If you didn't know, the United States annexed Canada in the Fallout universe, and it's one of the Commonwealths. The 14th, give or take. Imagine there are dissenters in the streets. You don't want to kill them. It would set a bad precedent, make other people pissed off. So you just take one of these bad boys, load it up with some sonic grenades, saturate the area with it, and then they all just go home, right? Their ears will probably be bleeding, but they're alive, and that's all that matters, right? So it can be used for crowd control in every sense of the word, really. Now, if you want to know where you can find these weapons, relatively high tier, but there's some places that always have them, like the boomers. You can also get them from Mick and Ralph, if you pass the speech check there. Knight Torres in Hidden Valley. Blake sometimes carries it at the Crimson Caravan. Brandon at the Hoover Dam. Sometimes merchants at the 188 have them. Sometimes. And sometimes Joshua Graham has it in Honest Hearts. But what you should be after is the unique version of the grenade machine gun. Every weapon in Fallout New Vegas has a unique variant, which is a reskin, recolor, modified version of the baseline weapon. In this case, this weapon is called Mercy. Mercy is a higher damage output, lower magazine size, because it's not a 25mm grenade machine gun. It's a 40mm grenade machine gun. It's the same platform. As I said before, this is a weapons platform. Same platform, just different chambering, right? To get this, you're going to need to go to Deadwind Caravan. Brotherhood of Steel Paladin had it. He died to some death claws, so keep that in mind. Deadwind Cavern, not Caravan. Anyway, uses 40mm grenades, a lot less common, costs a lot more. It only has 18 rounds in it instead of the, normal amount that we have in the 25mm grenade launcher. Now, some think this weapon was modified post-war to fire different ammunition. They're wrong. This is a completely pre-war weapon, mostly because when you find it, it has some markings spray painted on it, a lot like the survivalist's helmet that says "Forgive me, Mama," or this machine, stuff like that. It says, I'm gonna fucking butcher this one. Hi, guy, bye. I can't speak Chinese, so it's what it says. It says HEIGUIBYEBYE, right? And for those of you that don't know, the Chinese stealth armor that we find is actually referred to by that name. The Dragoon armor, as it were, is referred to by that name. So this was most likely used, Mercy, the weapon, was most likely used in Operation Anchorage. So that's just a quick fun fact for you there. Now, the grenade machine gun is an artifact of a very specific design philosophy. Systemized destruction. It's not elegant, it's not subtle. It's a brute force answer to battlefield entropy, enabled by computational timing and compact power sources. In-game, it's satisfying and dangerous in equal measures. In-world, though, in-universe, it's a piece of hardware that would make any small town tremble at seeing it. And if you want to play with one, pick your fights and don't stand too close. And if you find mercy, savor it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'd like to thank Eric Hewitt and Big O for sticking around. Thanks, guys. Means a lot. And if you want to become a member, the link's down in the description below. $2 a month gets you unique videos. Getting back into the swing of uploading to it. I'm probably going to record one for after this. Probably going to be a weapon video, actually. I want to talk about, the first gun you get in-game, which is pretty much, well, the 9mm pistol, really. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm gonna head out. If this is your first or second time here, hope you enjoyed the video. If this is your third time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated on when I post. Anyway, this week we're going to be talking about the most notorious weapon in Fallout for one reason or another. The 9mm pistol. It's cheap, it's common, it's practical, it's everywhere in this game. Now let's get some of the stuff out of the way here. Simply referred to as the 9mm pistol in-game. The actuality is, in-game it is referred, well, in the Fallout universe, I should say, it's referred to as the M&A 9mm pistol. It requires 0 guns to use, which is weird because I don't think any skills can actually go below 1. Keep that in mind. Requires 2 strength, 16 damage per projectile, 50 DPS, 13 rounds in the magazine. Technically 13 plus 1, but the game doesn't do that. It uses 9mm ammunition, plus all derivatives thereof. Takes like almost 2 seconds to reload it. You get about 745 shots from full condition, 58 full reloads. The 9mm pistol is the Mojave's economy sidearm. It shows up early, it's cheap to buy, and it uses common ammunition. Along with that, it's so simple to become proficient with that you can have no skill in firearms and still know how to accurately utilize this weapon. Mechanically, it sits between a holdout and a full-service pistol. It's a small, lightweight, semi-automatic that you can hip-fire or aim down sights with reasonable speed. They all come with a 3-dot luminescent sight setup to make it nice and easy for sight acquisition, especially at night. And with its ammo being in abundance, it makes the 9mm pistol the perfect sidearm for anyone in the Mojave Wasteland. Be it an NCR, sharecropper, or a caravan guard. Now, the in-game 9mm pistol traces its lineage to the real-world Browning high-power 9mm handgun. It also came in different calibers, but we're just going to be talking about the 9mm version. Now, the design of this pistol, being based off of the Browning high power, brings up a few questions of the Fallout world here. More than a few of Browning's guns have ended up in-game. In Fallout New Vegas here, there's at least 2 other guns designed by John Moses Browning. The first one is, of course, the 1911. The 45 pistol, as it's called in-game. You find them floating around after you do the Honest Hearts DLC. Joshua Graham's sidearm of choice is also this style of handgun. The other is the automatic rifle. You can find one of these over in Quarry Junction in the Death Claw Nest. And that's based off of his rifle, the Browning automatic rifle. Better known as the M1918 Browning automatic rifle. The BAR or the BAR, however you want to call it. Joshua Graham, the Burned Man, even goes so far as to talk about the .45 pistol he uses being designed by one of his tribe a long time ago. And he's right. John Moses Browning was a Mormon, just like Joshua Graham is in-game. So that means John Moses Browning existed in the Fallout universe. Okay? So why is the Browning High Power being manufactured by a fictitious company known as M&A Guns, which only manufactures the 9mm pistol, and then it also makes optics. It makes binoculars and it makes scopes for rifles. Doesn't that seem kind of strange? Well, yes and no. Right, by the time Fallout rolls around, Fallout rolls around, by the time the world ends in the Fallout universe, as in modern society collapses, is in 2077. Right? The design for the Browning High Power was made in 1914, finished a while later, but by the by, it's been continuously manufactured from then till now. Browning finished production of the firearm itself in, let's see here, 2018. So not too long ago. But secondary manufacturers picked up where they left off, bought the old tooling so they could make their own Browning High Powers. Along with that, there is this thing that happens in the gun world. It doesn't really happen in the car world too much. But it's the ability to lease out your patented designs to others to manufacture. Or, in a lot of cases, since firearms are coming from different countries with different copyright law, they just make them. Right? Like the AK-47, for instance. One of the most famous rifles on the entire planet can be manufactured by companies here in the United States making amazing versions of it that cost a lot of money, or you can get one that was made in Romania in the 70s and is fairly cheap and inexpensive, right? There are some out there that are probably made by hand in a shed somewhere in South America, right? Easy, simplistic designs will become extremely famous around the world. This has also happened with the 1911. And of course, it has happened with the Browning High Power. So it's not surprising that this thing that has already happened in our world would extend to the Fallout world as well. Now, M&A Firearms, which I'm just going to let you in on a little secret, their maker's mark, which is an M over top of an A, is literally just the Volkswagen symbol flipped upside down. M&A makes accessories to firearms. And there are quite a few companies out there that started by making accessories for firearms. Stocks, scopes, slings, magazines, you name it. And then were able to get their hands on tooling for older firearms, and then start producing limited runs of, well, guns and stuff that were either scarce to find, hard to find, not manufactured anymore, or they go out of their way to retool these firearms into something that takes more modern ammunition. One such case that I know of personally is the Schofield revolver. Right, when it was originally made, it took a shorter cartridge than the other revolvers of the day. And while the shorter cartridges can be used in the other revolvers, the normal length cartridges couldn't be used in the Schofields. And of course, as is bound to happen, the wrong ammunition was sent to the wrong place, and the Schofields couldn't be used while the other ones were, so the Schofields fell out of use, even though they were technically quicker to reload. They did have less power because the cartridges were smaller. That's how that goes. But the modern versions of it have been retooled and modified to just use modern .45 ammunition, I do believe. Should probably look that up. It's either .45 or .44. At this point, literally all of the calibers, right? Looking at a manufacturer here, .44, 45 long Colt, 38 special, 44-40. Nice. 38s, 45s. You got them in 3.5-inch barrels, 3-inch barrels, all the way up to 8-inch barrels and whatnot. Again, the tooling was bought, and the guns retooled to use modern ammunition to a point there. But that very well could have been done in the Fallout world as well, if they really wanted to. But they mostly stick to the accurate design of the tooling of the guns. So that's what M&A is doing. And while they are called M&A firearms, the only other objects we know of in-game that they manufactured pre-war are the binoculars you can use and the trail carbine scope. Now you may be thinking, well, that's a weird gambit to run there. Binoculars and scopes for a trail carbine. The actuality of it is, any rifle scope can be used on almost any rifle, so... I mean, if you really wanted to, if the size was permitting, you could probably stick it on hunting revolver too. Or a shotgun, or rifles, or whatever, right? You could stick these on anything. They're all aftermarket scopes, and most firearms don't come with scopes when you buy them anyway, because it's all preference to the person that wants to use it, right? So, they were mostly an optics manufacturer that stepped into the manufacturing of Browning high powers that they just referred to as the M&A 9mm, which is fine, right? You have clone 1911s floating around everywhere that got different names attributed to them. It's just standard practice. Now, one of the main reasons the Browning high power caught so much traction in our world and was modified and derived off of, to this very day, over 100 years later, is because people even back then came to the realization that, yes, the 1911 is reliable to a point if it's well maintained and well taken care of, and it has a lot of stopping power. A lot of people would rather have something that's not as heavy hitting, that has more shots, simply because, at the end of the day, if you hit someone in the chest twice with a 45, or if you hit someone in the chest twice with a 9mm hollow point, even ball ammunition would work, they're probably not going to stand back up, right? So you can get someone just as dead with a 9mm as you can with a 45, and with the Browning high power, you have 13 shots over twice, well, close to twice, what a 1911 has. So, more bang for your buck, literally, in this case. It's also one of the reasons why 9mm ammunition and 9mm handguns are as popular as they are in the world now. Pretty much every police force, military force, even civilians, carry 9mm instead of 45 or 40 Smith & Wesson or 357 or 44 or 50 AE or something like that, right? It's accessible, it's light recoiling, it gets the job done. It works. It just works. Now, just like the 1911, pretty much the most customized handgun on the planet, the Browning high power also has a lot of customization stylings you can do with it. But in-game, you get two significant modifications. You get a short-range scope with scope mount, and you get extended magazines. Now, in real life, extended magazines, you just go and buy a larger magazine. It's not hard. Scope mounts, on the other hand, and scopes for semi-automatic handguns that have a reciprocating slide. They're not like modern red dot optics, right? Modern red dot optics are meant to be mounted on a slide that moves, so they're a little more durable, and they'll usually keep zero a little bit better. Scopes, on the other hand, you don't want them rattling around too much, right? So it's mounted to the frame itself, not the slide. A little more involved to put a scope on, but it's a modification in game, so that's what you go with. The other unique thing about the M&A 9mm pistol is it's the first gun we see in-game. The gun Benny uses to shoot the courier in the head a couple of times is Maria. Gold-plated and engraved 9mm pistol that has beautiful grips on it. It is just the same baseline Browning high power that we see throughout the rest of the game as well, just made to look nice. Now, it seems like this firearm came factory standard engraved like this, probably with a name. Now, you may be thinking, especially nowadays, you don't really find factory engraved firearms too often. And you'd be right, because it takes time and effort, and there's not really a bunch of people out there clamoring for engraved guns. But this harkens back to a custom that the United States used to have, really the world used to have, up until just recently. Say recently, you know, the 1950s, I do believe. Back in the day, you used to be able to order anything out of a mail order catalog, firearms included. You used to be able to take a catalog, fill out what you wanted, have it sent straight to your door. Of course, you could buy firearms from the Sears and Roebuck catalog, right? Or you can splurge a little extra and get a fancily engraved one from these catalogs as well. Now, I feel like this is something that would have extended into the world of Fallout, right? Kind of like how grenade launchers that were underslung never caught on. The way the cars are stylized to be that of the future of the 1950s. I feel like they probably would have kept the mail order catalogs for firearms as well. So Maria was most likely a production run of an engraved Browning high power clone that was sold by M&A to really get people more interested in owning their firearms, you know, to make waves when they first introduced it. There are quite a few companies that try this to this day through different odds and ends to really get people's attention. Viral marketing being one. You could think of it kind of like that, but for a long time ago. Anyway, enough off topic. Back to in-game... Well, in-game stuff here. Repair methods for it, of course. Other 9mm pistols, you can find them everywhere. You usually keep it topped off without too much of an issue. Along with that, anyone that has a repair skill that you can take the guns to get repaired work just fine. Of course, Knight up in the Mojave Outpost, 100 repair, that's fine. Dip into Lonesome Road, all their requisitions have 100 repair. Those also work. You get the jury rigging skill, and any one-handed firearm is used to repair the gun, which can keep it going even longer if that's what you're going to do. And if you're wondering where to find these firearms, Doc Mitchell literally gives you one in the beginning of the game. Almost everyone in Good Springs carries one, or a single-action revolver. I'll need to talk about that at some point. Literally everywhere. Most powder gangers carry them. Lucky 38 basement, there's usually always one sitting on a stand. Pretty much every firearm seller in the game sells one. Yeah, they're literally everywhere in game. Along with that, one of the major reasons why we see so many of these pistols floating around in the Fallout world, well, in the Mojave Wasteland, is due to the New California Republic. It's the sidearm that is used by the NCR Army because the tooling and manufacturing for these firearms was most likely not hit by any direct fire during the Great War, so New California has been using it to manufacture these firearms since they were able to find the manufacturing plant for it, right? Again, a civilian firearms manufacturer that mostly deals in optics isn't going to be high up on the priority list of targets to strike during a nuclear war, so that's most likely why we find so many of them floating around the Mojave. If you take anything away from this, let it be this. The 9mm pistol is the Mojave's reliable constant. It's not the flashiest, it's not the deadliest, but its practical combination of affordability, common ammo, durability, and mod potential make it indispensable to beginners and sentimental to veterans alike. And with that out of the way, we're done talking about the 9mm pistol in Fallout. If you made it this far, go ahead and subscribe, or the like button. I guess that still does stuff nowadays. I have no idea. YouTube's changed quite a bit just in the last month or so. It's hard to wrap my head around it. Anyway, I'd like to thank Eric Hewitt and Big O for sticking around this long. Thanks, guys. It means a lot. We have memberships, if that's your thing. Link is down in the description. $2 a month, you get access to a bunch of videos. This being one, you can tell I'm in full go mode at this point. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Much appreciated. I'm going to head on out now and probably figure out what I'm going to do for the next Thursday video. Maybe I'll do a the mod thing there. Show people how to install mods. Should be able to do it short, sweet, and to the point. Keep it like 10 minutes or so. It's not all that hard once you know how. Anyway, gonna leave you here. See you later.